Hello, everyone, and welcome to Extra Point, the Beaver Nation edition. And I want to lead off. I kind of led you that I was going to talk about this. And so the Beavers win, the Dogs win, the Grizzlies win, and the other dogs won. The Dog Pound in the Midwest won. You kind of had the perfect football frosting on the cake weekend.
Heck yeah, don't forget about the Cats over there in Bozeman with a couple of our Beaver guys as well.
Well, I was sticking with the ones that you had direct contact with,
Sure.
And I was going to lead into, the boys over there because Troy Anderson, have you coached him a little bit, didn't you?
I did. I was fortunate enough to coach him his junior and senior year. Probably the best coaching job I did because I didn't have to say anything. He's such a freak athlete and a phenomenal person. We always say that we're a lot better coaches when we have great athletes, and he epitomizes that. God, it looks like he's having so much fun over there.
Well, of course, he's hitting people, not being hit, which we've talked about with your kids.
Yep. It's fun to watch him playing middle backer there, and unfortunately, R.J. Fitzgerald is over there too, and he's banged up here for a couple weeks. And then Jace Fitzgerald, the guy we had last year, redshirting this year. It just looks like a lot of fun. It's pretty rewarding as a coach, as you coach all these guys. And then, they start to play in Frontier games and they start to play in Big Sky games, and you get to follow. We got some guys at Western. We got some guys at Carroll. We got some guys at Tech. And so it's awful rewarding to sit back on Saturday and watch those guys have the time of their lives playing a game they love.
Well, and it shows you the strength of the Beaver program over the years, too. I mean, the kids that you're talking about, it's not a rarity to see Dillon Beavers in the Frontier Conference and Big Sky ranks. It's been happening for quite a while now.
Yeah, and I think it extends that to that Beaver Nation that we always talk about. We're pretty proud of a lot of these guys. We give them the roadmap, we like to think, and then they can make the decisions for themselves. And you're just talking about a bunch of young men that are just upstanding citizens, and they just get to play a game that they love. And then it all kind of comes full circle. A guy like Carson Haritzko, a guy that excelled for us at the Beavers about 4 years ago, is going to student teach with us in the spring. And, man, it's just such a cool cycle to watch these guys that you love and care about, and they work so hard for you, and then they're excelling in life, and Carson's about to take up a profession that I'm super passionate about too. And we can talk about Frenchtown, which we will, and we can talk about those games, but one of our goals is to just make nice young men out of these people, and great husbands and fathers and successful careers and all that. And whenever we get an opportunity to talk about those guys, man, it is just super rewarding for me.
Well, Mr. Haritzko too, he's kind of a wonder child as far as in the surgery. I mean, a lot of people with what he went through injury-wise would have said, my football career's over with.
Yep.
He worked with an amazing medical staff. He's got Zach McCarthy up at the college, an amazing athletic trainer. And now he's on the field again for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and he tore his ACL on a non-contact injury about 2 games into his senior year. And, it's so hard to watch kids get injured, but talk about a guy who has just persevered through whatever. I know we talk about that a little bit, adapt and overcome. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters how you respond. And, boy, Carson is about as first class and the epitome of that as you can get.
Well, let's jump back into Friday now. You started out 0-2. You've since reeled off 3 straight victories. Hard-fought game against Frenchtown. It looked like it was kind of going to be a runaway initially, but then all of a sudden, I guess one of the wheels might have slipped a little bit on the Beaver Nation wagon. Yeah,
as a coach, you tend to focus on the things that you can fix before you highlight the things that went so well. And, man, it's just exactly like it was against Whitefish. That was a hard-fought game. We had an opportunity to win it in the end despite all of the mistakes we thought we made. And I think we've grown a lot that we can just stay in the fight. Certainly, any game that you play, you're going to have things that you do really well, and you're going to have things where you're like, man, that sucked. That was awful. But to just stay in the fight, is a real testament to our players and their courage and their character, despite anything that happened during the game. And just to come out on top, make one or two more plays than the other team, that's an enormous win. I was super fired up about it. The players were fired up about it, and it was just an awesome, awesome game. As we look forward, yeah, we feel like we've made a pretty good first punch in a couple games, and then we've lost a little bit of our discipline. But it's so refreshing to be able to talk to our young student athletes about having the courage to be coached and to be coached hard. It's uncommon in society today to correct a kid, correct an adult on something, and we have young men that are accepting of the coaching. They want to be better. They want to get better. We have enormous goals that we're trying to accomplish, and it's always fun to go back to work like we did today, of just correcting those mistakes. Being around a bunch of guys that want to correct those mistakes and just have fun.
Well, it's, we talked about, the adversity, the penalties, the turnovers and stuff like that. But overcoming the adversity, all of a sudden at the end of the game, they put together an 85-yard drive without any penalties.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's flawless because there's always some little nick that has to be fixed. And then you turn around and your defense, stops them in the red zone. And so a perfect offensive series and a perfect defensive series. And so I would say those are pretty good examples of that overcome that you keep talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when you're in the game and you're coaching, and I'm assuming it's the same if you're playing in it, I heard from my fiance, I heard from my mother of like, man, that was a nerve-wracking game. When you're in it, you're just in it, and you're making decisions and you're coaching on the fly, and it's just so much fun. I know what people don't get to see is when we take timeouts and you walk into the huddle with 11 young men, and there's no doubt that we're going to win the football game. There's no doubt that we're going to find ways to get it done. It doesn't mean we always get it done, but man, it's a pretty special feeling to walk into a huddle of 11 young men that have been through 3.5 quarters of a slugfest, and there's no question in their minds what's going to happen on the next play. So, yeah, real testament to those guys. Like I said, we try to provide the roadmap, but all the credit goes to them.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back and talk about a rival that you get to face next time, and we'll do it right after this on Extra Point. Well, before we get back to Zach and the rivalry game coming up, I want to tell everybody that you still have some time, about a week left, to get your Beaver Nation stuff, T-shirts, cups, sweatshirts, what you name it. And remember, all the proceeds go to the Beaver Booster Club. And as Zach has told us so many times before, the Beaver Booster Club helps Beaver athletics and activities a lot. So you have a little bit more time. That deadline to buy Beaver Nation stuff has been extended until October 4th. So go online to Big Time Athletic Wear, I believe.
We'll put the link in.
Okay, we'll put the link in the bottom of the screen, but October 4th is the deadline. Okay, Coach McCray, Butte Central's been a rival to Beaver Sports for as long as there's been Butte Central and Dillon. And so I'm guessing this is like the Tech Western rivalry, the Carroll Tech rivalry, the Cat Grizz rivalry. It's one of those things that doesn't necessarily mean what your records are on the thing.
Sure.
Everything is just tossed out the window, and it's just game on.
Yeah, then that's exactly how we present it to our players. What a cool week you get to be part of, a game that is so deeply entrenched into two communities, Butte and Dillon. I know there's a lot of hatred way back there. You know, I've heard about all the rivalries. I've heard about some of the brawls. I've heard about some of the characters way back there that have had altercations, and I think it's just awesome. We have the utmost respect for Butte Central. We know they're going to play hard. It feels like we see them 100 times between football and basketball, and so we know their kids. They know our kids. We know the coaches. They know our coaches, and it's just a really cool game to be part of because it just adds a little bit more energy to an already cool game. And like I said, there is nothing cooler than playing a game like this against a team that's an hour away from you. Fortunately, I didn't get to play in this too many times. When I was getting into high school, they bumped us to the Southwestern A, and Butte Central stayed in the Central, I believe. And so we lost this game during my high school days, and by the time that I had gotten back teaching and coaching here, we had it back. And it doesn't matter if it's home or away. It's really cool. It's so fun to be part of. Nothing but respect. You can come in with whatever records you want, and it just doesn't matter. They're going to get our best effort. We're going to get their best effort. And we'll lay all our chips on the ground and see where it ends up.
Well, and you've got the kids that were hurt early are now back and playing and contributing again.
Yep.
So how do the two teams match up?
Yes, certainly they do some things that we're going to have to prep for that we haven't seen offensively. We like our matchups across the board if we can stay healthy. We have gotten John Kirkley back, and he's been an enormous boost to that. We're going to get a couple more guys back this week, and we hear that they're going to be at full strength as well, and they haven't been for a couple weeks. They do some things defensively that we're going to have to adjust to, and it all just comes down to the old adage, blocking and tackling and physicality. And so we fully expect a four-quarter slugfest from a very good Butte Central team, and nothing but excitement for the game.
7 o'clock kickoff?
7 o'clock kickoff up at Montana Tech.
Okay, well, I'm sure there will be a few vehicles carrying blue and gold fans on the way up to the mining city.
Yeah, I sure hope so. We want Beaver Nation there. Last year, unfortunately, with COVID and Silver Bow County, our parents weren't even allowed to go to the game, and so we've played up there. This will be our second year in a row, and it's always awesome. Everywhere you travel, everywhere you go, those familiar faces are such a boost to us.
Okay, well, we want to remind everyone, we'll talk about it really quick, but don't forget, big time for Beaver Nation apparel, so you can be in the proper uniform when you visit. Yep. Getting away from football just a little bit, in one of our earlier programs, you had mentioned about the summer weight program that you had, and you said that you kind of started it primarily for Beaver football players in summer conditioning, but they weren't the only ones who contribute or who participated in that summer weight program.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to just a philosophical belief that whether it's our athletic teams or whether it's our extracurricular programs, we're a family, and we just got to treat each other with the utmost respect and just flat go to work. And so I've been a big proponent of getting our female athletes in the weight room just as much as our football athletes. We don't run a football-style weightlifting program. We do one that benefits all athletes, and the girls this summer were just fantastic in there. I see some of the success that they're having on the cross-country field. I see the success that Sherelle's having in the volleyball program, and man, it was just cool to be part of these young women working their tails off in the weight room, right next to some of our guys. You know, some names that pop out to me, and I'm probably going to forget some. Layla Stenerson, she was a rock in there. Jordan McKay, or not Jordan McKay, Jordan Walker. Let's see here, Kenzie Doffinger, Abby Lemlin. We got ones from every single program. The Peterson girls were in there, and man, it's just so cool to watch them have success, knowing how hard they worked in the summer. They're so easy to root for. They're first-class young women, and man, it's been super rewarding to watch them in their respective sports have all that success. And what I think it's done, if you've been to any volleyball games, our football guys are kind of psychopaths at some of those volleyball games.
I've been there.
I've gotten a couple phone calls of some rowdy behavior, and I certainly don't hate it. But I think it just we want to promote each other. We are so happy when they have success, and we're invested in them. And so it's fun to get out there and support those girls. They're working their tails off. They're chasing championships just like us. And so, you know, to kind of tie that back into Beaver Nation, we all have our roles. None of us are bigger than anybody else. And when everybody works together like that, it's nothing but a positive atmosphere.
Okay, Zach, it's what you said. It's family.
Yep,
Beaver Nation is family, no matter what
Absolutely.
sport. And you know, or I would say that when you look at successful athletic programs across the board, that family atmosphere is always there.
Yeah,
Always.
absolutely. When you can, when you know somebody's got your back, and it's not, they're not just coaching you hard because you're good at athletics, or they're not coaching you because you're bad at athletics. You actually put in the time to be there, and people that put in the time recognize people that put in the time, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. So volleyball plays tomorrow night against Butte Central. I'm told that our football team has some excitement to be there, and if there's any complaints or anything, I'm going to turn my phone off on Tuesday night. So go to the game, support those girls. I'll be there, and I can't wait to watch them.
Okay, well, thank you, Zach. Best of luck against the Maroons on Friday night. We'll be here again next week and chat more about that victory and what's coming up next for Beaver football.
Awesome. Sounds good. Can't wait.
Okay, that does it for this edition of Extra Point.